On my way out to the square foot garden beds to do a little update, show you what's happening in the square foot garden this summer. I was walking by the Lavender Patch, and the thing that I stood on top of last winter when there was 5 feet of snow on top of it. Just thought I'd show you that it came through beautifully, and it's just starting to bloom. You can probably see the blue there. The blossoms aren't really open yet, they're just all buds, but as soon as they open it'll be covered with bees. Well, the cold and the damp weather seems to have gone away. We're into a nice stretch of sunny, warm weather now. Not terribly hot, mid-20s, but I'll take it. It means, of course, that the raised beds have to be watered at least a couple of times a week, but that's not a big chore. This is one of the beds of Brassicas. I wasn't quite sure what they were because I got the labels mixed up when I transplanted them, but this bed does seem to have mostly Brussels sprouts in it. All Brussels sprouts except for, I think I see 3 broccoli plants in there. And I have interplanted or in between them with plants of dill. I need the dill for pickles that I hope to make. And also I was hoping that it might be some sort of a companion planting. I read somewhere once that you could plant it with tomatoes and it would keep the tomato hornworm butterfly away. So I was hoping that it would do the same thing here with the cabbage moth butterfly. Well, I can't say it's a complete failure. There has been some cabbage worm moths around. I haven't seen as many as I do other years, but I've killed some of the worms, and you probably can see some of the holes here in some of the leaves. And since I started finding worms, I've been spraying again with BTK, Bacillus thuringiensis. The K, I think, stands for potassium added. Anyway, it's an organic, natural occurring substance that the worm has to eat it before it kills it. It doesn't kill it on contact, but eventually it kills it anyway. That's the main thing. Also in this bed there's some lettuce that's doing quite well, hiding down in behind there. And over in the far corner there's some chard. And this is the second bed of Brassicas, and it is about half and half cabbages and broccoli. Not sure of the variety of any of them. They were seed bought from Vessi, but they were variety packs. Both the broccoli and the cabbage were a mixture of early, mid, and late season varieties. So far I'm happy with the plants anyway. I'm not getting any broccoli yet, just a lot of nice green foliage, so maybe the ones that I grew were mostly later season, but anyway, the plants are looking healthy, and quite a few of the cabbages are sort of starting to head up. See that one there in the center is sort of starting to head up, so hopefully I'll get enough cabbage to make some sauerkraut again. And this is a mixed bed. Hiding in behind these peas are the beans, which are supposed to be tall runner beans for baking. The peas were supposed to be bush peas, a foot to a foot and a half tall. Well, they haven't stopped yet, and they're over 2 feet, so I don't know what to expect there. They're probably going to drown out the poor old beans that are in behind. And then next to them is another little square of lettuce, and a square of parsley, and then some Florence fennel. And in the 2 squares there, it's the white icicle radish. If anybody's ever grown them before, I'd appreciate you telling me when they're supposed to be harvested. These are sort of bolting. I've been picking the blossom buds off of them, but the few that I've pulled are, I don't know, inch or 2 long and quite nice, but they've got this long tap root, and they're sort of like a carrot type thing. I'm wondering how long they will get if you just leave them, or if they'll turn woody. Anyway, I'd appreciate anybody letting me know what they've had for previous experience with them. This bed is not terribly successful. I planted spinach, and even the small plants have started to bolt, so maybe I should wait and plant some in the fall. There's some garlic that I didn't realize was there, left over from last year, and it's come up and doing quite well. There's a few of my seed-grown onions in with them, which aren't doing all that well. But the thing that I have the great difficulty with, and it's always a big disappointment to me, are beets. I just cannot seem to grow beets. I got these miserable scrawny little things in here. I don't know. Something I guess must be missing from the soil. Other plants seem to grow quite well in here, and they're all planted in the same soil mixture, but I don't have much luck with beets. They are getting a bit bigger, so I may get a few to eat out of it. And the back row here are tall telephone and blue potted peas. And I don't know, they're probably 4 feet tall, I guess, right now. No blossoms yet, but last year they went 8 or 9 feet tall over the top of the trellis anyway, so perhaps it's a bit early for blossoms there. And this bed has 2 rows of garlic, 4 cells in each row, 2 different varieties. The front row, they're both hardnecks, but the front one is probably a foot taller than the one growing in back, so there's a difference in the two kinds. But right now, we're into scapes. There are lots of scapes forming. Matter of fact, I've got to harvest them soon, I guess. I don't want them to get too tough. I really like them. I like them in stir fries and steamed as beans. And next behind them are a row of red onions. I bought onion sets for these, and they're looking better than my seed-grown onions, which usually it's the other way around. I usually have trouble with onion sets, and the seed-growns do quite well. And then there's another row of those sugar snap peas, which are supposed to be a bush pea. They've gone 2 feet high, and at least here they have a trellis to climb on. Just starting to see the first blossom buds. There's no blossoms open yet, so maybe they have almost reached their full height. But anyway, I'm looking forward to having some sugar snap peas. And this bed is all cucumbers. I shouldn't have bragged so much the last time. I said I hadn't lost any. Almost immediately after I made the last video, I lost 2. I don't know what happened. I had a lot of leaves turning crispy and brown. I don't know if I got them wet watering them in the heat of the day or what happened, but the survivors are looking okay and starting to run. And the 2 cells where I lost the cucumber plants, I put seeds in, and there are new plants growing. I don't know if I can get in close enough to show you something that's happening here. I want to give it a try. Probably not. Anyway, these, which look like weeds, I had been weeding them out. I've come to think that they are ground cherries. I had ground cherries growing here last year, and I've been looking around wondering, because people have always told me that they're very weedy. They will come back in the garden. You don't have to bother replanting them. So I've stopped weeding. I think I'm going to have some ground cherries along with my cucumbers. I really like the things. I didn't get enough last year I was going to try making some sort of preserve out of them, but they weren't that prolific, so I just ate them fresh in the garden. They're very good. This is the last of the square foot beds. It's got a row of my seed-grown onions in front, and then 2 rows of new asparagus just planted, and the back row is another row of those tall beans for shelling and baking beans. And they're looking nice, but again, they're not really climbing anything yet. As you probably have noticed, I'm trying to divide the videoing of the garden. I've sort of divided into 3 sections. There's the permaculture First Nations type garden, the 3 Sisters, the square foot garden, and then what I'm doing with my tomatoes in the greenhouse and outside. So I'm going to be doing the updates in sort of three different sections from now on. So this concludes today's video on the square foot garden. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to give them. Thank you for watching. Now, to close things off, I've got to show you what's happening in the compost pile. Everybody's always talking about what comes up in their compost. I was going to dig this out, clean it out this summer, and put it in beds, and all of a sudden things started growing there, so I'm leaving it alone. I have a mystery squash. I'm not sure what the variety is. Several of them actually growing in the same place. Last fall I put some of the red flowering horse chestnuts in here. I have 1 chestnut tree, a potato of some sort, and over here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's one of the roses that grows in my garden. It's Rosa glauca rubifolia, I think. Anyway, it's one of the old heritage roses. And I think I have a home for both the rose and the chestnut tree, and I'll let everything else grow and see what kind of a crop I get out of my compost pile. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.